Money lovers, this video is going to be a sketch and color with me. I'm going to be kind of sketching out this CHIBI stitch. So I have this like stitch magnet that is kind of like a stitch but like CHIBI, so its head is really big and I think it's really cute. So I kind of took that as inspiration as well as other pictures of Stitch to make my own kind of CHIBI stitch. So his face is kind of smiling with, which unlike my magnet where the mouth is kind of closed and the ears are both perked up, and I kind of took the magnet and kind of made it something that I liked a little bit more, and I really am happy with how it turned out. I think it's really cute. So what I did is I first obviously drew the head because the head's the biggest part and it's the part that's on the front, and then I drew all of his facial features to make sure that the head was the proper size and shape before moving on. And once I kind of got the idea of what I wanted their facial features to be, I drew his ears, his front legs, because those were like the second most forward layer, and then I drew his kind of like belly and his legs because those are the most back layer. And I kind of used that and I made this kind of drawing, and I think that it looked really cute. And if you're interested in the pencils I'm using right now, I'm actually using the Papermate Clearpoint mechanical pencils. I made a review on these, so if you're interested in that, they'll be linked in the cards in the description box below, as well as other videos for you to check out. And for the just making all this stuff, I mean, when I'm drawing, I don't really mind using mechanical or wooden pencils, but, you know, they both are fine as long as they erase well. But let me know if you have a preference over using a wooden pencil versus a mechanical pencil for drawing. I mean, honestly, for me, I don't really mind, although I do have mechanical pencils that I use a lot more. So I like mechanical pencils because of how they're refillable and just convenience-wise. But I know some people like the feel of like wooden pencils more, so let me know if that's something that you care about or something that you don't care about either, like me. And I don't know, Stitch is a really cool character, and this was a lot of fun to draw because it was really cute, it was really simple, it wasn't like super hard to draw, and it still looks really nice, and like it looks realistic, and it looks like it was a hard to draw piece, but it really wasn't that hard. So if you're like new to color pencil art, I definitely think that this was a good piece to start with because it's not that hard and it looks really nice and like complicated to draw, but it's really, really simple. And now I'm just obviously fixing his face a little bit, you know, touching things up, because I obviously, you know, drawing is a trial and error kind of process. Like, you draw something, you realize you don't like it, so you erase it and draw it again, and you keep drawing it until you get the sizing right and the shape right and just everything about it like the way you want it. And there's no right or wrong, but it's just how do you want it to look like at the end. That is what your ultimate goal is with drawing, to get it to look like how you would want it to look. I also ended up having to change the ears because the ears were actually not correct, and I didn't know that from looking at my magnet. I had to look at pictures online for references, so that's another thing. Even if you're trying to make like a manipulated version of something, like this is a chibi version of Stitch, I still wanted it to look somewhat like Stitch, so I didn't want their ears to be in the wrong place or something like that. So it is still important to look at the original as well as a manipulated version. Another thing that's really nice about Stitch is that it's a cartoon character, so it's really simple to kind of understand how it looks, and there's not a lot of complex shapes, and it's already something drawn, so you can kind of get a look at it, whereas it's like something like a picture of a dog, those are really hard to draw. And now I'm going with a Prismacolor Premier fine liner over all of my sketches to give it a nice outline. I always outline everything in fine liner and then erase it with an eraser, all the pencil marks. That way you have a guide and like an outline And, yeah, and see, I said I was going to fix up the ears, and here is me finally fixing up the ears. So see, it's totally fine if even when you're outlining you realize there's a mistake and you go back and fix it before you even go back with the fine liner, or after you go back with the fine liner. It's totally fine. Like I said, it's a trial and error kind of process. Just do it until you feel like it looks the way you want it to look. That's the fun of drawing. So definitely recommend using a pencil first, but some people don't necessarily go with a pencil first. They just draw with fine liner immediately, and I'm just like, how do you not mess up? Because their art still looks good, but it's like I redo and redo and redo. So I don't know. But everyone has their own kind of style and capabilities, and you gotta take advantage of that, I guess. But I just put everything in fine liner because fine liners are really nice. You can also put them in color fine liner if that's something that you would have wanted to do. There's a lot of really nice fine liners out there. I can't quite remember what size this was, but I really think that these are cool fine liners. I don't have a review on them, but if you're interested in a review, let me know in the comments below if that's something you would watch, and maybe I'll make a review of the Prismacolor Premier fine liners. So as you can see, I finished outlining it, and as I said, I am now erasing it. I'm using just the back of the eraser, but some people like using normal erasers or kneaded erasers. If you have a preference, let me know. So now I'm going over all the areas that are going to be black with my Pentel Fluid Touch brush pen. Any black brush pen would do. I actually don't have a review on the Pentel Fluid Touch either, but I do have a review on the Tombow Fluid Nosuke, which is a really common alternative, and I definitely like it a lot as an alternative. So if you're interested in that review, it will be linked in the cards and description box below. But other than that, this is the Pentel Fluid Touch, and it's just a brush pen that really can cover a lot of area with black, and I'm using it to kind of just color in all the black areas. However, I did feel like the highlight in the eye for the one eye was a little too small, so instead of making the other one smaller, I made this one bigger with the white color pencil. And now for the best part of any piece, coloring him in, and I'm using a technique called layering and burnishing. So pretty much what I do is I'm mixing colors. So right now I'm using the 24 set of Prismacolors, and there aren't a lot of colors in there. 24 colors is not a lot when you have to share it with an entire rainbow. There is no gray. There's not a lot of color variety, so you really have to make sure that you're mixing colors and blending and everything, because if you're not doing that, then you're not going to really get a very large range of color. And that's another really good thing about this character for me, is that it really went with the colors that came with my colored pencils. So if you're interested in a review of the Prismacolor Premier Color Pencils, I did make one of those, so that will be linked in the cards in the description box below. I definitely recommend you check that out if you consider buying these, because these aren't necessarily cheap and there are a lot of other options out there, but these may be for you because they're still pretty good pencils. So now I'm coloring in the tips of the ears, which I'm pretty sure I just leave it that color. So I layer and layer and layer, but I keep it the same color with the blue. I do use different colors for like the general color of it, but I like using this dark blue and that light blue just to kind of get the right shade of blue, build up the color that's right, so that way you don't really have a bad color. And for just the ear and the tip and the nose and the tip of the ears, I'm using just a solid color. So if you like the color, you don't have to layer, but if you don't like the color, then layering is a really good way to kind of build the color. And it's also really nice if you have a lighter color and darker colors in your layering, and you utilize that to create shading. So like on your second layer, you can kind of just use your darker color in one area and your lighter color in the lighter area, so that way you kind of build a shadow as well to kind of give it that like 3D effect, how it would look in real life. And shading is really important because, I mean, it depends on your art style and every art style is different, but it is still a good idea to kind of just get an idea of how things are supposed to be shaded, which is another really good thing about drawing cartoon characters, is that you already know where they're going to be shaded from because the cartoon character designer already put in all the shading, so it's really not that hard to figure out where it is, and all the shapes are very simple and basic, so it's a lot easier to figure out where any additional shading might be if you were to add it. Like, most stitch drawings don't have a lot of shading in them, but you can very easily figure out that it'd be behind the ears and under the face. Right, it's not that hard to figure out. But if you still want to experiment, definitely go with this. It's a really good, I love using Stitch. And even if you don't want to draw cartoon characters, but you want to draw a dog or something, I mean, if you're just starting out, I always recommend just searching drawing of, or color pencil drawing of, I mean, if you're using a different medium, then, you know, whatever medium, like watercolor painting of, alcohol marker drawing of, and then whatever you're going to draw, and that way you kind of get a good idea of what it's going to look like. And so, like, if you're going to draw a flower, you can do drawing of X flower, like sunflowers for example, you can drawing of sunflower. Then you get a good idea of how it's drawn, and you can kind of take aspects of different pictures and just put them in your own style. So definitely recommend doing that. And also, you know, here is just, you know, as you can see, it's starting to build up a lot, the colors. You can start to see his face really become, you know, blue, and like the bright blue. And once again, the ears, there are only two pinks, but I really utilize blending to just make sure that, or layering to make sure that the colors are right. I use this like purple color as shading, and it actually looked really good at the end because I used a lot of layering to make sure that the purple became a pinkish color at the end, but like it was still tinted with purple. And if you're interested in this and want to learn more about blending and layering and mixing colored pencil color, then definitely let me know in the comments below, and I will work on making that video for you guys. That's definitely something I am planning to make. So if you want to get notified when it comes out, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell and get notified. And if you comment that you want it, I may make it sooner than some other videos that I'm planning to make. So obviously now the ears are beginning to look more put together and like ears, and like I said, you can start to really see how these colors take shape. And I need to let you know that I actually sped this up. Obviously it's sped up, but just reminding you that this is sped up. So it did take me longer. I think this probably took me, 1.5 hours, 2 hours to make. So it did take me a while to make a piece, and it's not really that big of a piece, but color pencils is not the fastest medium really, so you just kind of have to take your time with it and just make sure that you're using all the proper techniques. So like here I mixed the pink and the red to make that tongue color, and then the back is more of just a like purplish red, a really dark red though, because that's what it's like in the real character. And so once again, reference pictures are really important. I mean, you have to have you need to know your strong suits obviously, but it's good to have a reference so you can know the colors of things and the value of those colors and the shade, the tint, and there's a lot of that goes into mixing colors that you have to think about. And it's more for me just like, what do I think would make this look more like the right color? What colors do I have that could get to that color? So it's just so you have to pick the right colors. And then now I am coloring in the teeth yellow, and I didn't have a really light yellow, so obviously I just had to use the lightest yellow I could find and color really lightly, and then I used the white to burnish on top of it to kind of spread the yellow around a little bit more, and also just to kind of make the yellow a little bit lighter. And then I am now obviously doing the nose, and the nose I'm burnishing with this like really dark blue. As you can see, I also use this technique for the nails, and it really helps bring everything together to use similar colors and just to kind of see how it looks. And I think it's really nice, and it's really true to Stitch, who I don't know, I really like Stitch. Stitch is such a cute little alien, and he's just so funny, and he's just really cute. I think I dressed up as Stitch once for Halloween, which was a lot of fun. So I have a Stitch onesie. I don't know, Stitch is really cute. I like Stitch. And yeah, now I am now coloring in his paws. His paws are so tiny, and like it's nice. I really like color pencil art, though. I don't make a lot of color with me's. I haven't made a lot of color with me's recently, and I do want to make more of them because they're a lot of fun to make. And you know, I really like coloring with colored pencils. And if you like colored pencil art, definitely let me know by hitting that like button. And if you hit that like button, I'll know to make more of these videos for you guys. So that way, you know, you'll get more of the content that you like, and I'll be able to make more content that I like to make. I like to make other content that I make on the channel too. All the content is a lot of fun, but color with me's are something I just don't think I do enough of, because I haven't made one in like so long, and I just want to make more color with me's, because it's always nice to sit down with a pack of colored pencils and just color. I feel like I've been using a lot of other mediums lately, and I just want to go back to using colored pencils. It's honestly just such a rewarding medium to use. And yeah, I think that is it for today's video. I'm just adding some little bits of shading and finishing up the legs, adding some finishing touches, but you know, it's, you know, just kind of adding it where, you know, I feel like it would be. Once again, there wasn't much of a guide, but it's kind of like where it's coming out, where it's coming in, and where your source of light is. I'm not the best at shading, honestly. I mean, if you have any tips for shading, definitely let me know in the comments below. That will definitely help me out, as well as anyone else reading the comments, because I mean, I need to work on that a lot, because it's definitely something that like I'm not good at. Like if it's something obvious, I'll be able to shade it. Like with the Stitch, most of the shapes are pretty obvious, but like if I want to draw a person or like a real life animal or something a little bit more complex, it's really hard for me to get the shading right. And yeah, and now I figured that his face was looking really flat because everything else had shading and his face just, it didn't. And so I had to fix that because, you know, it was bothering me. But you know, that's it for today's video. I just added a little highlight with the whiteout, and I pretty much finished with that. So I hope you liked it. I did end up cutting it out with like a little border just to make it look a little bit more complete, but this is the magnet that I based it off of. And if you liked this color with me, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified every time I make new videos. Every Monday I make videos on stationery, calligraphy, and art. And make sure to hit that like button if you like this video so this video can reach more people. Comment down below on what your favorite type of pencil is, what your favorite type of fine liner and color pencil is, what you thought of the Stitch, shading tips, and anything else you'd like to tell me. Make sure to check the description box below for more videos you can watch while you wait for next week's video. And make sure you just comment, like, subscribe, and remember to have a happy Monday. Bye-bye.